Morning, folks. Welcome to your show and mine, Bobby Ramos' Bottom Line. Today's show features an iconic personality, best lawyer of his time, for sure. And there's a big tie-in with why I'm talking about him today. But it's the late, great, the one and only Mr. Johnnie Cochran. And you folks know I have a couple pictures with people. He's the one who got away. My friend, he brought his new camera and took all these pictures of Cochran and I. And we're on the train coming back. And none of them took, because I'm not going to say his name because I want to embarrass him. But he had a brand new camera that he really didn't know how to work. So none of the pictures came out. But great book about Cochran, which he signed for me. If I can find it. Oh, it's this page here. To Bobby, Keep the Faith, Johnnie Cochran. I believe it's 10/2/02. So, anyway. I'm going to play a tape for you. Because him and I talked quite a few times, but remind me, well, you can't remind me because I'm on Facebook. The first time I interviewed him, because, you know, he's famous for his rhyming in the courtroom like he did. Here's the opening I did on my first sports show. And, you're going to hear me reference two things. One of them was, the first one is, at that time, women were boycotting a big country club, golf club, I believe it was in Augusta, Georgia, because they didn't allow women as members. And women were boycotting it. We're out there marching, demonstrating. So the first reference you're going to hear me talking about him with women. And the second one was a reference to, during the O.J. trial, the two prosecutors, Marsha Clark, had an affair with her partner, brother Chris Darden. She's a white woman. And it wasn't known by the public at that time, but inside, everybody knew. So that was the second reference. So let me just play this opening, and he cracked up. Let me let you hear it. Now, I don't know how this is going to sound, because I just recorded it off my computer, so the quality isn't great, because I'm trying to do this quick this morning. But hopefully it'll work so you can hear it. That didn't work out so good. Let's try it again. I don't know what that is. Let's go to 90. Okay. That's aggravating. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me pause this for a minute. It doesn't pause. That's good. Well, I really wanted you to hear this. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Yes, this is the technical part that you folks normally don't see. But I think it's 89. There it is. I got it. Okay. Sorry this is taking so long, but you're seeing the behind the scenes of what could happen in the wonderful world of recording and live. Okay. Here's the opening I did for Johnnie Cochran. I did it again. 89. Okay. 89. Go. Got it.
Come on. If it doesn't fit, you must be quit. Now, I must admit that was a hit, but that ain't it. Sit back and enjoy me and my boy. Bobby and the Bird giving the word you've never heard. Sports talk in black and white. We keep it real, keep it right. Sit back and relax as we give you the facts. He's in it to win it. He's problematic and charismatic. And I've got to shut up because I'm asthmatic. You know who I mean? He's the lawyer supreme. If he don't win, it's got to be a sin. Welcome to Sports Talk, Mr. Johnnie Cochran. Bobby, it's my pleasure to be here.
Oh, man, that was good.
You like that one, officer? I love it. I figured somebody of your magnitude, you would appreciate that. You know I really do. There you go. You got my attention. As well as you can down there going after you, you ain't got nothing to say. I have nothing to say. You're losing that one. You know what? You got it. That's right. You're losing that one. You don't lose too often, but you're losing that day. I'm losing that ballot. You're absolutely right, brother. No. And I don't want to get on Christopher Darden too much. And I'm going to turn this over to Bert, because when we were on that show Thursday, he was saying how you played the race card. And I told him that the only person who played the race card was Marsha Clark, because she figured she had the Mandingo thing sitting next to her, and she kind of drifted. She was the only one in my mind, Birdman, who played the race card and played it well. She's buying Spinner's albums. You know, she's wearing a do-rag now. You got it, man. You got it. Mr. Cochran, thank you very so much for the time. We'll definitely be getting you down the road when you have some time. I love it.
Okay, there you go. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I hope you could hear it. But anyway, Mr. Cochran, he represented everybody from Todd Bridges from the TV show, Jim Brown, Snoop, Tupac, Michael Jackson, even Reginald Denny, the white guy who was dragged out of his truck during the LA riots. He represented him as well. And he hated the fact that, and of course OJ, he hated the fact that he was so known for OJ. Because like he said, he represented a lot of no J's. He didn't want to be known for OJ. He represented a lot of no J's. And he was so talented. He was so great at what he did. He's the only guy in Los Angeles, the only lawyer, not guy, lawyer period, to be voted civil trial lawyer of the year as well as criminal trial lawyer of the year. He also started out as a prosecutor. A lot of people don't know that. He won prosecutor of the year twice in LA. And he switched over to being a defense lawyer. Because I asked him, he said he got tired of seeing so many black, brown, and yellow faces coming in, beat up with black eyes and everything, and they all got hit by the same doorknob. That's why he switched over. But he was even a bigger civil lawyer than he was a criminal lawyer. And that's what he was proud of. That's what he was most proud of. At that time, before his untimely death at 67 years young, 6 of the top 10 civil cases versus corporations, monetarily, 6 of the top 10 biggest figures, money figures, were won by Johnnie Cochran. You know, he was just that good. He also, you know, this is mainly a sports show, but I do a little bit of everything. He was very instrumental, and for all you sports fans who know about the NFL and the Rooney Rule, where they have to interview a black candidate for a head coaching job. It's basically a joke. It doesn't work. But it was done because of Johnnie Cochran. Johnnie Cochran and another lawyer, Cyrus Murray, did this big expose. This thing was this thick. I read it from page to page about why black coaches weren't being hired in the NFL and how they had better records and how the same regurgitated Caucasian coaches were given job after job with terrible records. And they were going to go after the NFL next after this report. He got sick, and I'll tell you that in a little while, and passed away. But that's where the Rooney Rule came up. The NFL tried to beat him to the punch and soften the blow by starting that Rooney Rule. The other thing he had told me, he was this close to becoming a sports agent. And boy, would that have changed the game had he had been a sports agent. A lot of other agents would have went after him the way they did Tank Black, but that's another story for another day. But the reason why he ties in today, because there's so much going on with police brutality and everything that's going on with Mr. George Floyd losing his life, being murdered. And as you know, the lead detective from LA, Mark Furman, was real key. And Mr. Cochran told me, Bobby, let me tell you, when the years are up, and I forgot how many years, I don't know if it's 50 years before the records could be opened up, he said, he is the most racist, vile SOB America will have seen in a long time. They will have stomach pains when they see what a racist dog this guy really was. Because it really didn't come out during the trial the way it should have. And that was when he got real serious. That clip I told you was, laughing and joking. It's just a clip. But he got real serious when he talked about Furman being what he is. Johnnie Cochran, like most black men in America, was profiled. I've been profiled twice when I was a cop. I was off duty. I was profiled twice. One of them by a guy who's a chief locally, but that's another story for another day. But he's driving upper LA, he was a millionaire guy, driving his Rolls Royce with his license plate, JCJR, Johnnie Cochran Jr., Rolls Royce, with his 2 daughters in the car. And cops know who he was. Rolls Royce, black man living up where he was living, license plate. Gave him a hard time, pulled him out of the car in front of his daughters and everything like that. So he had an understanding of what was going on in America for the black man, because he, like he said, and he knew from other cases, but like he said, if this could happen to him, just like it happened to Professor Gates, which is another story for another day, Skip Gates. But Cochran said if this could happen to him, he knows how easily and how much it happens for the average brother or sister on the street who's not driving a Rolls Royce, who isn't a high-priced lawyer, who isn't a celebrity name. So I wish Cochran was around today for a lot of reasons. I think he'd have a field day with everything that's going on. One thing I wanted to add to, and you got to excuse me because I could talk about Cochran for hours. I got to tell you one personal thing for all the sports fans out there. He was a Raiders fan. He loved the Raiders. He always he watched the Raiders, and I was calling him because I was doing the stage show. When I ended up doing the stage show with Jim Brown, Cochran was supposed to be on my first guest, and whenever I called him, he didn't always pick up, but he'd call me back usually within the same day, sometime the next morning or whatever. But he didn't call me, so I called his cell phone, I called his home, and I called his office. It was a Sunday. It was a big Raiders game, and it was a Sunday, and I called his office thinking maybe he checks his voicemails. He picked up the phone. He was in, nobody else was there. He answered the phone. He was in there on a Sunday working on a case by himself. That showed me a lot about his work ethic. But anyway, like I said, he was gonna be my first stage guest. And he said, yeah, and we talked. I think we talked. He told me to call him in late October or something like that, to remind him, give him a date that we can work with. And he wasn't calling me back at all. I called him like 4 times, every number I had. And this went on for a couple of weeks, and that's why I moved on to Jim Brown. I got Jim Brown to do the interview instead of Cochran. And maybe 4 or 5 weeks later, I get a call from Cochran's office. I saw it on my phone, on my home phone. It said, Johnnie Cochran Law Office. The guy said, yes, is this Bobby Ramos? I said, yeah. He said, you're the guy Mr. Cochran was doing a stage interview with. We regret to tell you he won't be able to do it. He's very sorry. He has inoperable brain cancer. Most of the public didn't know at that time. Of course, I never said anything, even on the radio. I never said anything. And his desire, the guy said, was to walk his daughter down the aisle. She was getting married, I don't know, I think sometime December. And human spirit being what it was, he did. he got better and he was able to walk her down the aisle, and then he went right downhill and he passed away a short time later. But he was a great guy, um, flashy, brilliant, um, just a great guy. He knew where the camera was. He was smart. Let me tell you this one story. His son is a state trooper in L.A. and he pulls this guy over for speeding on the highway, and it's a black guy. And guy's all mad. I'm going to call my lawyer. I'm going to call Johnnie Cochran. This is wrong. You don't know you're in trouble. I'm calling Johnnie Cochran soon as I get a chance. What's your badge number? State trooper reaches for his cell phone. He goes, what's your badge number? And he goes, here, I'm going to let you speak to Johnnie Cochran. It's my father. And he gives him the phone. It's Johnnie Cochran on the phone. And so that kind of killed that guy's alibi and his story and how he was being abused by this black cop who happened to be Johnnie Cochran's son. Anyway, like I said, I can go on for days. You folks have a good day. Have a safe day. And thanks for listening and supporting, as always, your show and mine. Bobby Ramos, Bottom Line. Catch you on Friday.